everyone. Let's get the party rolling. Is our microphone system on?
Doesn't sound like it, Ty.
The mics, did they get it? Oh. Okay, is it on yet? No, doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
Is it working now?
Yes.
Okay. Let's call this meeting of the County Board to order. It's Thursday, February 23rd, 2012. The time is 7:01. Please turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrator silence. Roll call, please.
O'Connor.
Here.
Petrie.
Here.
Quisenberry.
Here.
Richards. Rosales.
Here.
Schrader.
Here.
Alex.
Here.
Ammons.
Here.
Anderson. Benzel.
Here.
Berkson.
Here.
Betts.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Coert. Esri.
Here.
Holderfield.
Here.
James.
Here.
Jay.
Here.
Kurtz. Langenheim.
Here.
Maxwell.
Here.
McGinty.
Here.
Michaels. Mosier. Weibel.
Here. We have a quorum. Tonight's prayer is an Irish blessing. May there always be work for your hands to do. May your purse always hold a coin or two. May the sun always shine on your window pane. May a rainbow be certain to follow each rain. May the hand of a friend always be near you. May God fill your heart with gladness to cheer you. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please read the notice of the meeting?
Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the County Board, Champaign County, Illinois, will convene on February 23, 2012, 7 o'clock p.m. in the Lyle Shields Meeting Room, Brookings Administrative Center, 1776 East Washington Street, Urbana, Illinois, in said county for the purpose of allowing and ordering payment of claims against the county, receiving and acting upon reports of committees and other such matters as may be brought before said meeting, which said meeting shall continue in session from day to day until the completion of said business.
Move adoption.
Moved by Mr. Betts.
Second.
Second by Mr. James. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Seek approval of the agenda and the addendum. Moved by Ms. Coert. Second by Mr. Esri. One item I want to remove is item item 14, nursing home quarter report. Mr. Scavato is ill, so we'll try to have that next month. Any other changes? Mr. Kurtz has arrived. Okay, see none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The date and time of our next regular meetings on Tuesday, March 6th at 6 p.m. in this room is Committee of the Whole for Facilities, Policy, Personnel and Appointments, Environment and Land Use. Now, Tuesday, March 13th, 2012, of course, at 6 p.m. in the same room, Committee of the Whole for Highway and Transportation, Finance, Justice, and Social Services. Please note that Highway and Policy have been switched. And on Thursday, March 22nd, at 7 p.m. in this room is the regular County Board meeting. Next item, Mr. J, would you move next item, please?
Yes, sir.
I would move that we appoint Jeff Keebler as County Board Member in District 3 to fill Alan Nuno's position.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts. I note that's resolution number 8042. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Mr. James, would you move that item, please?
Adoption of resolution number 8043, appointing Max Mitchell as a county board member in District 3 to fill Brad Jones' unexpired term.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts. Discussion. See none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Holton.
want to do it together? Entirely up to you.
Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to read. You want to affirm or swear? Affirm. Affirm or swear? Okay. Stand of it. Say I agree or I do. I, Jeff Kibler and Max Mitchell, having been appointed to the office of County Board Member, District Number 3, the State of Illinois and the County of Champaign aforesaid, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of County Board Member, District Number 3 to the best of my ability. I will. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Okay, consent agenda. Any items that you wish to take off the consent agenda? A move by Ms. Ammon, second by Mr. McGinty. Roll call, please.
O'Connor?
Yes.
Petrie?
Yes.
Quisenberry?
Yes.
Rosales?
Yes.
Schrader?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Ammons?
Yes.
Benzel?
Yes.
Bergson? Betts?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Coert? Esri?
Yes.
Holderfield? James?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Kibler?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Langenheim?
Yes.
Maxwell?
Yes.
McGinty?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Weibel?
Yes, motion carries. Next is public participation. Again, we have 1 hour for public participation, maximum of 5 minutes per person. Please fill out one of these forms if you have not. They're in the corner on that little table there, and bring them to me. First up is Mr. Belton Fields.
Good evening. I hope all of you have read something I asked Michael Richards to send out to you all. It was an article in the February 18th issue of the New York Times entitled "Psychiatric Places with No Place to Go But Jail." And it is a story basically about the Cook County Sheriff, Sheriff Dart, being overwhelmed by psychiatric people in his jail and arguing that really they ought not to be in jail, but there is no other place for them to go. Chicago has had some facilities for people, residential facilities for people. They've closed a couple of those. We know that just yesterday the governor has closed 2 more facilities that are run by the state. So we have a very serious crisis on our hands. And what I'm particularly hopeful, having read your request for proposals and the 7 points in points 3 and 5, which talks about special needs for special needs inmates, medical and mental people with mental and medical issues, and also 5 alternatives to incarceration. And I hope that both the consulting firm that you're dealing with, as well as the committee which has been formed by the Social Injustice Group under Michael Richards, will pay particular attention to these issues. What I am proposing is that you think very seriously about going in 3 directions. One of them is the creation of a residential mental health facility. This would not be incarceration, but it seems to me that it relates to public security and to public safety, the safety both of the people who have these mental difficulties and the safety of other people who, if they are not on their meds or something, could possibly be dangerous. I don't want to imply that everybody who has a psychiatric problem poses a risk to other people, but they certainly are a risk to themselves. So that's one thing. I think you could use those funds to create such a facility, because the state's not going to do it for us. They're going in the other direction. A second thing I would urge you to think about is minimum security facility, because we all know that there are people who are in the jail who have not committed serious crimes, yet they're in a maximum security. And some of the people who have psychiatric problems are in a maximum security facility, which is exactly the wrong place for them to be, because that would aggravate their situation. And the third thing that I hope you consider seriously is something I mentioned last time, and that has to do with women who are being incarcerated. And perhaps there could be some facilities that would meet the particular needs of women prisoners. And again, I would urge that in the staffing of that women be staffed by women not be overseen or surveyed by men. So I hope that both of these sides of the equation in terms of your procedure are going to consider these. One, the consulting firm, but also the group that you want to put together that will be appointed by Mr. Richards. I think it's important to have professionals, but I think it's also really important for people who have local knowledge to come up and participate in this process. And I really appreciated something Mr. James had said last time, that people who have been incarcerated, who know what it is to be in the jail, will bring a particular kind of knowledge to this as well. That's all. I thank you very much for listening.
Jeremy Baumberger.
First of all, I've prepared a statement for tonight, and I would like to request leave from the board to read the entire statement. It shouldn't be more than 8 minutes, but I worry it'll be... Well, that is not entirely true.
You have 5 minutes. The board can decide if they want to suspend the rules. The board decides, not you.
That is absolutely correct. However, I request that somebody on the board make a motion to suspend the rules so that I can read the entire statement.
I move a motion to suspend the rules, to listen to the statement in
Is there a
full.
second? Second by Ms. Ammons. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Aye. Motion fails. You have 5 minutes.
Well, my name is Jeremy Bamberger, and I live at 906 South Maple in Urbana. Tonight, I would like to address the ongoing development of the administrative infrastructure associated with the improvement of the conditions in the downtown county jail. Now, the first thing I would like to acknowledge is that there has been some confusion as to the nature of the groups which have been constituted outside of official county board meetings to deal with this issue. And I think the difficulties in naming these bodies exemplifies that confusion nicely. The fact that we have to start with here is that we are not talking about creating committees at all. We talk a lot about the facilities committee, but really in these debates, when we're talking about the facilities committee, what we're talking about is the jail space improvement project planning team. In addition, the Justice and Social Services Committee approved a resolution last week empowering Deputy Chair Richards to appoint 9 individuals to something called the Citizens Advisory Committee, which is what it's called in the action report, but it couldn't possibly be a committee because committees are established via the county board rules. Committees of the whole can only exist via county board rules. Now, you can create a subcommittee. I'll get to that. The other thing that could possibly be called a committee can actually be created by the chair of the board, that being a special committee. So this explains the fact that we are currently operating outside of the defined structures for the county board is evidenced by the fact that we can't figure out what to call these bodies. So that's the first main point. So I would say that it's very important for for us to reconstitute both the jail space improvement project planning team and the Citizens Advisory Task Force. I'm going to refer to it as a task force because it's certainly not a committee. As official subcommittees as per, let's see, I have it in here, Section 16, subsection D, point 5 of the County Board Rules enumerates that the deputy chair of a committee can designate a subcommittee with the approval of the board to work on something specific, a specific issue. Now, I think that really is what we should be talking about when we're talking about these committees slash team slash task forces. I think that's a really important point, and I would like to see you all address that. If these are constituted as subcommittees, this will provide credible oversight for the development of RFPs. Right now, there is no oversight for the development of RFPs. There's only an approval process once the RFP is already written, as well as oversight of shortlisting, which is granted to the project improvement team in the RFP, and the selection of consultant firms, which the board ought to do, but, well, we can kind of see where this is going. Finally, subcommittees, unlike teams and task forces, would be formally subject to the Open Meetings Act. I haven't seen a single minute recording or video of any of the meetings the project planning team has had so far. The other issue I believe the board must address tonight is the relationship between the planning team and the task force. In essence, what I'm asking the board to do tonight is to ensure that the task force be a substantive counterpart to the planning team. Last meeting, one objection to this sentiment was that it was purely a facilities issue. I submit that, in fact, the deterioration and overcrowding of the downtown jail is not just a facilities issue. The areas of pretrial detention, alternative sentencing options, and racial disparities, just to start, clearly are outside of the purview of the facilities committee and bear upon the volume and characteristics of the jail population. I can't see how it's controversial to suggest that there's an overlap between the missions of the planning team and the task force. Other board members brought up the fact that the consultant who will be hired by the board will provide the information with the task force is concerned. In that regard, I'd like to point out that the consultant cannot bring a motion to the floor of this board and so is not directly involved in the decision-making process.
Your time is up, sir. Thank you.
Are you really going to silence me like this?
Time is up. Those are the rules. Mr. Alex Klein.
Hi, I'm Alex Klein. I live at 502 West Illinois, and I'm with the CU Citizens for Peace and Justice. While you may not have seen me at many of these meetings over the last month, I can say I have been paying attention. I truly appreciate the county clerk for putting board meetings on YouTube. It would behoove the board and members of the planning team to keep it in mind that you do in fact remain accountable for everything you do and say at these meetings, even to those who are not present from the public every week. Yes, we even hear the derogatory comments about the public which come toward the end of the meetings. Anyhow, I'm here with a few questions about the RFP. Sheriff Walsh indicated that the alternative to building the jail is doing nothing. However, no one seems to be pushing for that. At least I haven't heard about it in this room. But we at CU Citizens agree that something needs to be done about the downtown jail. But what we don't agree on is that all the money for public safety should be going for jail construction. So please don't imply that those who don't agree with building a new jail are urging that the county does nothing. Now, from the beginning of this process, there have been a great number of gaps in publicly available information and proposals about this jail. Just as one example of this pattern, it was not until the public raised the issue that anyone mentioned anything about minimum security accommodation, which, according to the NIC, costs roughly half as much per bed as maximum security. Now, we hear about the issue of sight and sound, we also hear about this issue of sight and sound separation being the reason why we can't house women at the satellite jail. Does this seem like such a big problem? Why are we not looking into how to create sight and sound separation at the existing facility? Surely that would be a lot less expensive than erecting new pods. There's no consideration of environmental factors in this RFP. For instance, any new building being constructed must meet the requirements for LEED certification. Why is there no mention of this? Even more importantly, there's no mention of what would happen to the downtown jail if it were closed. Would it be torn down at taxpayers' expense? How much would that cost? What would be the environmental impact of such a move? Our biggest fear is that it would be sold off to some developer at garage sale prices and he or she would be making a killing putting up an apartment building there, among many other possibilities. Perhaps the most galling thing of all is that the sheriff admits that the average daily population in our jails has been going down for the last 5 years and that crime rates are on the decline. So does it make sense that the response to this situation is to build a new jail? I would say just the opposite. I would say we need to do what we can to continue to reduce the jail population and the crime rate. Now, if we put that $20 million into that particular project, we won't need to build a new jail at all. And hundreds of young, mostly African-American, Latino men and their families will be spared the pain of incarceration. Thank you.
Anna Kurhajic? Was I close?
Yes, very. Hi, my name is Anna Kurhajic, and I live at 908 North McKinley Avenue in Champaign. I've been a resident of Champaign County for nearly 10 years, and I'm currently a student at the University of Illinois. I'm here today to add my voice to the many who have come before you in the past weeks to express our concern about the future of incarceration in Champaign County. I'd like first to speak to the issue of public participation in matters of public safety. As you know, in November 1998, the people voted to approve a quarter-cent special county retailer's occupation tax for public safety, the quarter-cent sales tax. This tax was to be used to fund a variety of measures deemed matters of public safety, including the construction of the county jail, courthouse, and juvenile facility, as well as funding youth education, post-detention programs in the community. I commend that county board for bringing this matter to a vote among the people. Not only did it model the idea that the issue of public safety should be a public issue, but it also reflected a commitment to true democracy and real community participation in local government. The original referendum mandated that the tax could not be extended without going back to the voters. Yet, almost 5 years later, the county board passed ordinance number 683, redesignating how the quarter-cent sales tax was to be used and doing so without consulting the community. With this ordinance, the board silenced the public voice, violated the public trust, and backed away from the model of democratic community participation that had been established in 1998. The board owes the people of this county much more than that, so I ask you today to rethink that approach and once again prioritize real public participation in our community. I applaud you for taking one step in that direction by including community participation as an advisory committee or task force in the jail space improvement project planning team, so thank you. But now, as you look ahead to the possibility of spending an additional $20 million on expanding the local jails, I hope you will not ignore the community members who have come forward and expressed their concerns to you. I hope you will be forward-thinking. This community does not need more jail beds. There are so many other ways to allocate this quarter-cent tax money. I'm so pleased to see the board's wisdom in recognizing education, youth prevention, intervention, and post-detention programming as matters of public safety. Currently, 5% of the quarter-cent tax revenue goes towards these key elements. And soon, as the existing bonds are paid down in the next few years, our community has the opportunity to use much more of the quarter-cent tax revenue to develop these measures even further. Let's expand that 5% and make Champaign County a model of real public safety. We have the opportunity to be a leader in decarceration and effective public safety by prioritizing preventative measures. Locking people up doesn't actually address crime and violence in our community, it just locks people up. The state of Illinois already recognizes that there are cheaper, more effective alternatives to promote community safety. Our own governor has just announced that the possible closure of 2 prisons, the Supermax at Tams and a maximum security women's facility at Dwight. Let's join the leaders in this state by de-emphasizing incarceration and instead exploring prevention, education, and real alternatives. I know these measures, and not more jail space, will make me, as a county resident, actually safer in my community. Thank you.
Mark Enslin?
Hi, my name is Mark Enslin. I live at 207 West Indiana, and I would like to preface my remarks by noticing that it is Black History Month this month, and I wanted to do a little show and tell as part of my prefatory remarks. Last Black History Month, 2011, I started working on a painting in my basement. And now it's stuck here. And some people will paint paintings of something they consider beautiful. Yeah. There we go. Thank you very much. Okay. And I decided to paint a painting of a book that I'm in the process of reading. So this is a painting of 2 pages from How Race Survived U.S. History by David Roediger, a really intriguing book. And there's one sentence here I wanted to read to you from this painting. It's not done yet. It'll look really cool, I think, when it's done, but right now it looks kind of like a stormy sky. The 2 horns of the American dilemma remain distinct, with the infinitely nobler half, the commitment to equality, separated from racism, the other half, and the experience of racism. And this nobler half obscures that the not noble half will probably last for centuries. So this is a historian reflecting on the centuries of American history in relation to the phenomenon of racism as it started off with slavery and then Jim Crow laws and now the new Jim Crow. Thank you. So, and in that frame of reflection on particularly African American history in relation to the jail construction issue, it's not the only component of this, but I think it's an important component that ought to be brought into how to think about even the question of whether to build a new facility, which is the racial disparity of people who are incarcerated in that jail and elsewhere. How does this come about? This question is a crucial question. The jail, of course, isn't the only component of that answer, but it is a component of that answer. And in thinking about these questions, that brings in who is asked, who is consulted in dealing with this part of our county that seems to disproportionately affect a certain portion who may not be in conversation with another portion who seem to have a disproportionate say in what's happening. So I'm really addressing public participation, and not only to listen to the people who are able, like myself, to come before you tonight, but also people who either have a difficulty even imagining that they should or could come, or even people who can't come, like the people who are right now in the jail. I think their thoughts ought to be sought out. I think particularly of a person that came to our school who was in the jail for 2 years. He committed no crime. He lives in Houston, and he was passing through visiting family and got caught up in the criminal justice system. His is one case, and he shouldn't have been there so long. So there were various irregularities that happened that were not due to the facilities, but due to how the facilities are used. And I would think that his participation and the participation of others who, whose family members who know people who've gone to the jail, in addition to people who don't ever meet anybody or don't know anyone who's gone to jail, that difference needs to be brought into the discussion. Also the membership of the committees that are making these decisions.
5 minutes, Mr. Enslin.
Thank you.
Mr. William Castro.
Hello, yes. My statement is also in regards to the RFP. My name is William Castro, PhD, and I am a member of Champaign-Urbana Citizens for Peace and Justice, as well as quite apart, an expert on criminal discourse and its effects on communities and on public safety. The category of criminal discourse includes not only definitions and popular ideas about crime, but also the way in which crime is represented not only by the general public, but also by government and or law enforcement officials, private sector investors, and even artists and intellectuals. My research in this area expands currently more than 12 years and is highlighted by a doctoral dissertation titled The Criminal Subject, Transversal Power and the Neoliberal Corpus Delicti, an Inter-American Project, submitted at the Pennsylvania State University in May of 2005. My work in this area was recognized by the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, which hired me to continue my research on it from August 2007 to August 2011. I'm submitting this statement because I am deeply concerned that the focus on fighting crime and or increasing public safety through mass incarceration and the erection or expansion of detention facilities such as jails actually increases crime and public insecurity rather than diminishing it. Basing my conclusions on the work of criminologists, historians, political scientists, artists, intellectuals, and cultural theorists, such as the anthropologists Ellen Moody and Gilberto Rosas, both of whom are currently employed at the University of Illinois, I have come to the difficult understanding that crime functions very much as a kind of psychosomatic or psychosocial malady. What this means is that crime is a self-actualizing phenomenon, much in the same way as illness can be the result of a hypochondriac mind. In short, the more policies we draft against crime, the more detention facilities we build to house criminals, the more crime, criminals, and public insecurity we are likely to have as a result. There are many reasons for this, why this should be the case, and I would be happy to discuss them at length with the county board at any time. More immediately, I am here to state that if we are seriously concerned with reducing crime and increasing public safety, then our best option, I would even say our only real option, is to invest in what I can only define as culture. What I mean by culture is not only the promotion of the arts, such as programs for our children in music, theater, etc., but also, and this is I think the most important part, the training of our police forces in cross-cultural understanding. Example, studying Black history and the civil rights movement, such as the work of Rodiger, or alternative systems of law, such as those practiced and developed by Native American cultures native to this region. In light of the killing of Kiwam Carrington last year by our chief of police and our defense expert, and the racial profiling data that has come out of the city of Urbana, I think this is probably the most important piece. Also, I would suggest that it's important to promote the intercultural communication among all members of the community, such as classes on the many positive contributions that migrants have made to the cities of Champaign, Urbana throughout their histories, which is a necessary corrective to the view of migrants as criminals or aliens. Following this logic, I propose that a better solution to reducing crime and increasing public safety in our county is to use our taxes devoted to such purposes to create a government position, we can call it the cultural sheriff, that would oversee such functions. As a solution to public insecurity, culture is definitely not as profitable in the short term to the business sector or to our current law enforcement apparatus as mass incarceration tends to be, which is an unfortunate fact. However, in the long run, investing in culture will prove to be vastly more profitable to our communities since it will increase mutual understanding and cooperations between different sectors in our society, thereby promoting a vibrant, viable, and more importantly, sustainable or long-lasting public safety, paving the way for a future of artists and creators rather than one of criminals and aggressors. For this reason, I encourage the county board to take the lead in preparing such a future and to work towards eliminating public insecurity and crime by investing seriously in culture and supporting the creation of a government position such as the cultural sheriff to oversee these functions. This is my proposal in response to your request for proposals. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Amy Foster.
I don't have any prepared speech tonight. As you all know from previous bargaining sessions, I am a member of our bargaining committee in the labor negotiations, and I am coming before you tonight to ask you to perhaps speak with your representatives on the negotiating committees that are have told us in our last negotiation session that they are done negotiating with us. They say they have reached the authority that you, their board, have given them. And in the end, I felt that negotiations were going pretty well this time around. I've done several contracts. We've had some last for years in negotiations. And I really thought that we were making some progress this time around. There was some give and take on both sides. I think we were making our way to meeting somewhere in the middle. I would like to see that continue. It was very disheartening to come into the last session in good faith and sit down, only to be told as soon as they walked in that this was the last and final offer. And despite that, we considered this offer and we did what we could to give a counteroffer that was reasonable. And at that time, we were told that there would be no more discussion on this. We asked for another date, perhaps, so that they could bring some of this information that we had given verbally back to you. Again, we were told absolutely no other date would be scheduled for us to do any more negotiating. This is very disappointing. As a 16-year employee of the county, I've worked long and hard for everybody in this county, and I strive to do a good job. I try to listen to all the people that come into our office and help them in any way that I can. And I believe that as the representatives of this county, you should do the same. There should be a little bit more listening and more discussion, more negotiations. I don't think that it is proper to walk into a negotiating session and say right away that this is it, we're done. We're not discussing this any further. We don't want to hear what you have to say. We don't want to hear how this impacts you. It was just very disturbing for me. Thank you.
Ms. Tara McCullough.
Hi, I'm here on the same topic as Amy. I'm the staff representative with AFSCME that works with the union members here. And, I'll try not to repeat Amy's comments, but the issue here for us is fairness. This board has voted to give raises to administrative staff here at the county, as well as extra money in terms of like deferred compensation, things like that. Yet when the workers here say that we want to try to keep up with the cost of living this year is 3%. The raises that you want, actually raises/cuts that you want the employees to take do not keep people up with the cost of living, yet you're keeping the administrators, the management staff here up with the cost of living, 3%. So how is that fair? That's our question. The lowest paid people here, you can't afford raises for them, but you can afford raises for people that make the highest wages of the county. That's the thing we don't understand. And as Amy said, we've been making efforts. We've even agreed to some concessions that we are not excited about agreeing to, for example, in some vacation issues that have come up. Our last proposal is modest. It's very modest. So, again, you're paying this attorney. You guys have hired a private attorney to negotiate against us. We requested some information on how much you've paid this attorney. The little bit we've found so far is around $7,000 to pay this attorney when you have in-house attorneys that could be dealing with us. I mean, all she says is no. I mean, why is that worth $7,000? We don't know. I don't know. Again, it's a matter of respect, showing the people that staff your offices, that have been here 20 years, show them some respect, treat them the way you treat your administrators. You don't need a high-priced attorney to say no. I mean, we haven't had any county board members in our sessions this time around. We're told that what we're being told in our sessions represents your opinions. So what we're told is this is what you've told them to do. What we're asking is that you look at our proposal that we gave in the last session, although we were told you weren't going to consider it, that you consider it. It's very reasonable, and we hope that we will be getting a phone call that the county still wants to discuss this issue with their employees, that their employees actually do deserve that respect. So that's it. Thanks.
Ms. Nora Stewart.
Good evening. My name is Nora Stewart. I am the president of BASME Local 900, which represents the employees of Champaign County. And I hope I don't bore you this evening, and I'll try my best to keep it short. I stand before you tonight with questions and concerns. In the past, you've always said that you were union friendly and you always wanted to work with union representatives for the betterment of your employees. You always wanted that harmonious working environment. My concerns and questions I present to you tonight are, if that's the case, why have you, the board, instructed your negotiation team to stop negotiating with the union representatives? Do you call this negotiations, or do you call this a take it or leave it meeting? We've tried to set up additional dates, but to no avail. We were told that it's a waste of time. I ask you to give your negotiation team the authority to come back to the table to meet with us. The only thing that we are asking is that you do not make this that's it, that's all meeting. All we want to hear and all we want is a fair time. Thank you.
Is there any other further public participation?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I voted against suspending the rules, and I'd like to move to reconsider that vote.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Repeat that, please.
I voted against the motion to suspend the
Reconsidering the motion
rules,
to suspend the rules.
and
to allow
I would
further-
like to move, we reconsider that suspension.
Is there a second? Second by Ms. Petrie.
Can I speak to
Go
it?
ahead.
I was concerned with the number of people we had for public participation, that by suspending the rules, we would displace somebody else who wanted to speak. But seeing that we're done with extra time, I would like to let that Mr. Bamberger, I believe, finish his statement.
Further discussion? All in favor of the
I'm
motion
sorry,
to
Mr.
read?
Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Ellis.
I'll support it because I'm interested in what he had to say, but I would definitely appreciate if we would encourage people to submit comments in writing. I mean, I'm perfectly happy to have you speak.
Mr. Alex, the motion is just to reconsider, brings it back to the floor, then we'll have another vote to actually allow him to do that, so I'm not...
Thank you.
So, any further discussion? The motion brings back to the floor. Okay. If you vote yes, it brings it back to the floor, that means the motion is to suspend the rules. Okay? If you vote no, you don't want to do that. So all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye. Division, please.
Show of hands to support it. Raise them high. 8. Motion fails. Any other public participation? Seeing none, move on to communications from the board. Mr. Kurtz.
Thank you. I have some good news for the board. Yesterday, the mayors of Champaign, mayors of Urbana, mayor of Normal, Mr. George Roadcamp, the expert on the Illinois Water Survey of the Mahomet Aquifer, and myself, representing Champaign County, traveled to Springfield. We met with Senator Richard Durbin yesterday afternoon and spent 40 minutes with him. He was most attentive, very concerned about our arguments concerning the PCBs being stored in the Clinton landfill above the Mahomet Aquifer. And at the end of that meeting, he was 100% on our side. He is issuing a letter right now to the US EPA in opposition of the location of the Clinton landfill in DeWitt County. He also advised us to continue our legal action against the Mahomet Aquifer, against the Clinton landfill and area-wide, as well as to consider and continue preparing an application for a single-source water aquifer, the Mahomet Aquifer. So I think that's good news. I think having the power of Senator Durbin behind us, 100%, will be certainly taken into serious consideration by the U.S. EPA. And I want to thank Senator Durbin for being so attentive and listening to our concerns, and his pointed questions were right on the button. And so I want to thank Senator Durbin for his time and for his support. Thank you.
Any other communications? Ms. Petrie.
Yes, I want to convey to the residents of the present District 6 and the redrawn District 6 that I'm holding my second town hall meeting. It'll be the 11th of March, 1 p.m. at the Champaign Public Library. And for those who want to stay a little bit longer, it'll be followed by music program that the library has scheduled for that day.
Any other communications? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to approval of the minutes. I'll seek approval of the minutes for January 26th, regular meeting minutes, and January 31st, study session minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Petrie, second by Ms. Rosales. Discussion on either sets of minutes. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Going on to areas of responsibility. First up is Highway and Transportation. Ms. Cowart.
Highway and Transportation has 3 items. First one is adoption of resolution number 8033, authorizing the board chair to sign a local agency agreement for the jurisdictional transfer of Lamont Road and Second Street in Cleveland.
Second.
Second by Mr. J. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The next is adoption of resolution number 8034, providing for the addition of Lamar Road and Second Street in the village of Foosland, Illinois, to the county highway system. Can I so move?
Second by Mr. Langenheim. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next item is the adoption of resolution number 8035, authorizing the board chair to sign a sidewalk maintenance agreement by and between the village of Muhammad and Champaign County, and I so move.
Second by Mr. Maxwell. Discussion? Ms. Ammons.
I would like to get a clear understanding as to why we would be paying for this.
Mr. Blue, would you want to talk about this, please?
We're not providing any funds for this project whatsoever. It's all Village of Muhammad funds and federal funds. So all this does is authorize the board chair to sign an agreement so that they can construct the multi-use path along the right-of-way of Lake of the Woods Road, which is a county highway. And any future maintenance responsibility or anything that has to do with that multi-purpose path would be borne by the Village of Muhammad.
First,
Right.
Thank you.
Ms. Petrie?
This is just coming to us now. Is there a reason for this timeline?
Yeah, actually, the Village of Muhammad just received the local agency agreement, which is also in your packet, the local agency for federal participation agreement, and brought it to me post committee of the whole meeting. IDOT has to have this thing by March. They asked me to bring it directly to the county board. I asked Deb for permission to bring it directly to the county board because of the shortened timeline. I knew this project was in the works, and I think we have talked about it. Bob Mart was here some months ago talking about the project conceptually. But this agreement actually is something that has to be passed both by the Village of Muhammad as well as Champaign County so that the project can be bid in a timely manner on IDOT's bid letting.
Thank you for the explanation.
Yes.
Any other questions for Mr. Blue? Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
There's nothing else for board consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Court. Environment and Land Use, Mr. Kurtz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have just one item. B1, adoption of resolution number 8036, authorizing proposed minor changes to the Champaign County Land Resource Management Plan. I so move.
Second by Mr. Langenheim. Discussion. Ms. Petrie.
It's just an information question for Mr. Kurtz. We have a additional copy of this on our desk. Does that indicate any minor changes or?
Mr. Schroeder, Vice Chair, Levi.
If I may.
Mr. Schroeder, go ahead.
Thank you. There's a reason for this. The additional information is on the packet that's on your desk this evening. That's not included in the board packet. And also, there's a minor change that Chair Weibel found in the part of the map that, I'll hold that up. And it's just a minor change in language in the policy areas to primary sand and gravel aquifers. That was pointed out. And that was the only minor change.
So there's no resolution wording change?
No.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Petrie.
Further discussion. See none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Finance. So thank you, Mr. Kurtz. Finance, Mr. McGinty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First item, I recommend adoption of resolution number 8037, a budget transfer through Access Initiative for $237,746 to reduce original personnel budget. I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Schrader. Discussion. Mr. McGinty.
After discussion at our caucus this evening, I think there's ample confusion and need for more information to warrant a deferral, and so I'm going to move to defer this to the next committee of the whole for finance.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ammons. Discussion on the motion to defer. Being none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The item is deferred.
Second item, I recommend adoption of resolution number 8038 for payment of claims authorization. I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. James. Discussion. See none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I recommend adoption of resolution number 8039 for purchases not following the purchasing policy, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Ms. Holderfield. Discussion. See none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 4, I recommend adoption of resolution number 8040, establishing salaries of elected officials, circuit clerk, auditor, coroner, recorder, and county board chair, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Alex. Discussion. See none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 5, I recommend adoption of resolution number 8041 for the abatement and reduction of taxes heretofore levied for the payment of bonds, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Betts. Discussion. Ms. Ammons.
I think there was from my own understanding, I had sent an email to Ms. Busey, and I don't think I'm totally there yet on the difference between these two. The abatement and reduction of taxes are reduced by what amount, and then where does that money actually go when the abatement and reduction of taxes? Does it say this on their houses or something? What is this?
Some of these property taxes have to do with the courthouse and juvenile detention center bonds. And those are general obligation bonds, which are always backed by property tax. But there are also general obligation alternate revenue source bonds. The alternate revenue source is the public safety sales tax. The board has never had to levy the property tax because the public safety sales tax revenue has always been adequate to cover the cost of the annual bond debt service. So every year we abate the property tax. If for some reason something drastic happened and the public safety sales tax receipts were not adequate to pay the bond debt service, then a property tax would be enacted. But it was never intended, these bonds were always intended to be paid with public safety sales tax.
Further discussion? Mr. O'Connor?
Thanks. But Deb, you said it would be enacted. It's apparently then the mechanism's already in place. It wouldn't be anything we'd be able to vote on. It's already a done deal. If we need it, it will be levied.
You need to vote to abate these property taxes, otherwise the county clerk will levy them.
Mr. Langenheim? The microphone, please. Microphone.
What will happen to the money collected if we don't abate them? What will it be used for?
I have no idea.
Other questions? Discussion?
You would be increasing the property taxes unnecessarily. Yeah.
Well, we can do that to you if you want to. Further discussion, pertinent discussion, I mean. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
And that is all from finance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGinty. Next up is policy personnel appointments. Ms. Ammons.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion in lieu of this item on D1 to return the RFP 2012-00.
Ms. Ammons said it's out of order. You can't defer something without actually bringing it to the floor. You can offer a substitute motion.
I'd like to offer a substitute motion.
But you can't send something back to committee that's not on the floor, so
See, I think the Robert's Rule says you can make a motion before an item is considered.
you can ask this to be removed from the agenda at this point, but you can't send it back because technically it's not here to move.
And if I asked to have it removed from the agenda, it would automatically go back to the CAL? Not necessarily.
We could do that, I mean, yeah. But why don't you just make the motion, then you could, I recognize her afterwards, if second, you can defer it, if that's what you want to do. That's the easiest way.
All right. D1 is approval of RFP 2012-003 needs assessment study for Champaign County Corrections. So I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Second by Ms. Petrie, did you second that? Okay. Ms. Ammons, you have the floor.
Now, yes, sir, thank you. I would like to ask the the full county board to remand this item back to the committee of the whole facility so that we could work on our questions, additions, and language outside of this full county board meeting.
Second by Ms. Petrie. Discussion. Mr. Alex.
Just to clarify, Carol, you're asking us to go to facilities or back to policy?
I'm actually asking it to go back to facilities.
It came from facilities.
Okay, thank you.
It came from facilities.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Mr. Alex.
Sure. I've gotten a number of good comments from people in the community about the RFP, some of which, after discussion with the sheriff and the county administrator, have been incorporated in the RFP, but we continue to get good comments during public comment period. I heard a number of things tonight that I think are appropriate to consider including in the RFP, and I think it's worth taking some additional time to get it right. So I will support the motion to defer.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Ammons. Other business? Brandon, you want to make this motion, please? This is item 14.1, not the closed session.
Mr. Chairman, before you go to that, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Since the previous item is being deferred to facilities, if people would submit to either Deb Busey, myself, or the board chair, the questions they have regarding the RFP so that we can do this, or the sheriff, so that we can have a focused discussion.
Everybody understand that, please?
Could you say it louder?
Send comments on the RFP to either the sheriff, myself, Ms. Busey, or Mr. Betts, or all four of us would be good, too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James. Okay, item 16.1.
I recommend adoption of resolution number 8066 for the approval of agreement between the Champaign County Board and AFSCME Council 31 Local 900 Highway Department from December 1, 2011 to November 30, 2015, and I so move.
Second by Mr. Carter. Discussion. Ms. Ammons.
I just need to, just for my own sake, a little reminder of this agreement, because all we have is the actual resolution, and I don't remember the agreement.
It's with the highway maintenance workers, and it's a 4-year contract renewal for a labor contract for the terms of their employment. It incorporates the wage authority that was provided by the county board and health insurance, where the employees will begin contributing to their health insurance starting in fiscal 2013.
Any other discussion? Mr. Alex.
Who's the Labor Committee member responsible for this?
The Labor Committee determined that it was not going to assign county board members to these negotiations, and we've been providing updates
We
to the
haven't
Labor
been sending
Committee.
people to the negotiations, but my understanding was that there was still somebody who was responsible for the area. Is that
I don't
correct?
think we assigned, we're doing it through regular Labor Committee meetings and providing
Okay.
updates on the status of
That
negotiations.
answers my question.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The item on the addendum, Mr. McGinty?
I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C2 to consider collective negotiating matters between Champaign County and its employees or their representatives. I further move that the following individuals remain present: the county administrator and the recording secretary.
So second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Alex. I missed it back there. Roll call, please.
O'Connor?
No.
Petrie? Quisenberry?
Yes.
Richards?
Yes.
Rosales?
Yes.
Schrader?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Ammons?
Yes.
Benzel?
Yes.
Berkson?
Yes.
Betts?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Cowart? Esri?
Yes.
Holderfield? James?
No.
Jay?
Yes.
Kibler?
Yes.
Kurtz?
Yes.
Langenheim?
Yes.
Maxwell?
Yes.
McGinty? Mitchell?
Yes.
Weibel?
Yes. Sorry. Motion carries. We're going into closed session.